Hello everybody, Jeff Burchell here. So I want to share a story with you. This is a story my mentor has told on several different occasions, and it demonstrates a really good point about how we change as we're placed into certain environments. So he's from Alaska, and he was talking about this wild bear one day came into his town, and this thing was just vicious, just gnarling at everything, just going crazy. They sedated it, and they took it to the local zoo. And they put it in a cage. And this bear was just vicious, clawing at the cages, trying to break out any way it could. And every day at 10 o'clock, they would bring some meat. And they would hurry and open the door and throw this meat. And the bear would just attack it and just go crazy eating it. And over time, this continued. And eventually, the bear just kind of started laying around. It figured out, it couldn't get out of that cage. And it would just lay around all day. And it got to the point where the zookeeper would come and bring that bucket of meat and just set it there, and the bear would lazily get up and walk over and eat in kind of a leisurely, kind of just beat down fashion, right? And the zookeeper started wondering, he's like, I wonder what would happen if I removed the cage. And the other zoo guys were like, no, you can't remove the cage. This is a vicious, wild animal. And the zookeeper's like, no, I want to try and just see what happens. So he removed the cage and went back the next morning at feeding time and placed the bucket, and the bear just got up and went over and ate the meat again. And that it was kind of interesting. So the zookeeper wanted to try something. So the next day he took the bucket of meat and he set it about 5 feet outside of where that cage door used to be. And the bear got up and he walked over to where that door was and just stopped and just sat there and didn't do anything else and just waited. Isn't that kind of like what happens to us in life? Isn't that kind of like what happens to us? We're young. My daughter, she's going to be 4 this year, and she's got a fire in her eyes, right? Her imagination is just incredible. She's determined. And as we're little kids, we've got that. You can look at children, you can look at people that have won their freedom, and you can see that fire in their eyes, and the captivity isn't there at all, right? But then you look at people that, let's say, like where I came from, working in a small drafting office, that fire just disappears over time. Over time, you go in there, you're fired up, you're ready to do a good job, you want to put in all the effort you can, and eventually over time, the cage kind of surrounds you. You kind of feel like you're locked in all the time, and you just lose that inner burning feeling, right? And eventually, you're like that tamed bear living in a cage all the time. And that's a result of just conditioning, right? It's being in a place that we're tolerating, not that we want to be there, not that we enjoy being there. It's that we tolerate being there because in a lot of times we have to. We've got commitments, we've got families, we've got obligations, and we feel obligated. We feel like we're just trapped, right? How do we break free of that trap? How do we set ourselves free from that cage of life? Well, that comes from change. That comes from personal development. That comes from taking small steps in the beginning, bigger steps, and eventually, maybe breaking free of that cage. And that's the goal. And there's different ways to do it. There's a lot of different ways. I use a online system and taking little steps day by day. I've been doing it over the past couple years, and I've been able to completely change my life. I haven't won my freedom, the exact freedom that I want, but I've won the ability to choose my day and choose what I want to do. And it's maybe put a little fire back in my eye. I don't know. Maybe you can see it in the video. Maybe you've seen it in some of my other videos. But it gives me a little something to be passionate about besides just showing up for a paycheck somewhere, right? And it's a process. It's a process of change. It's a process of development. And the first thing you got to do is you just got to take a step. You got to, there's more out there in the world, right? You know that there's more that you want to do. There's places you probably want to travel, things you want to experience. But you're committed. You're committed to showing up and clocking in for 40 hours a week. So how do you live a life of dreams and life of abundance and experience if all you're experiencing is the same thing every day and every day? It starts with a little change. It starts with a small decision that leads to a bigger decision, that leads to bigger decisions, that leads to actions, that lead to bigger actions, that lead to results, that lead to bigger results. And eventually, if you do it, if you put in the effort, if you put in the commitment and the consistency, the results will be more than you can ever imagine. And that's what it's all about. So I'll tell you what, my friend, go ahead and click the link right below this video and take a very small step right now. A very, very small step. and then take another step and fill out the form on the page after the video, and then take another small step and go through the Fast Start training. And those little steps will have you stepping closer to your freedom if you take it seriously, take action, be committed, and stay consistent to your dream, to your life. You deserve it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the inside, my friend. Have a great day.